Welcome, everybody. It's the Radio Surgery Show with Dr. Gil Lederman, MD, New York's only Harvard-trained, triple board-certified radiation oncologist who brings you the latest cancer treatment news, interviewing world-renowned cancer experts, delving into special cases, and, of course, answering your questions. I'm Rob Redstone, broadcasting from the WOR studios in the heart of New York City. And now, please welcome Dr. Lederman.
Hi, good morning. Hope you're all fine and having a good weekend. I just listened to Therese Crowley saying how David Wright got VIP treatment because he had his results of his MRI the same day. Well, I have to tell you something. That's how we treat all our patients at Radio Surgery New York. So if you have an MRI or a CAT scan or a PET scan, all of you are VIPs. All of you get the results. How do we do it? Well, let me tell you how we do it. We work with a few groups of radiologists who are, I think, among the best anywhere, best in the world, best in New York, best on the street. You go get your scan, and then you come over to see me, and we get the radiologist on the phone, and he speaks directly to us and answers questions, and you get the report in your hand, and you get the disc in your hand of all the pictures that you can keep the rest of your life. So I suspect at Radio Surgery New York, you get better treatment than David Wright. You get the pictures, you get the report, you speak to the radiologist, and you do it all the same day. And that's what we do for every patient, not just David Wright, who is not our patient, but every patient. So if you want VIP care, and I think everyone deserves VIP care, there's so many things we do that are so different, and I believe so much better for you than the usual place. And obviously we're a cancer treatment center. We don't take care of baseball players usually. We're a cancer treatment center. We treat cancer. We believe you deserve that kind of care. So that's the level that we function at, better than the VIP, whatever he makes, $25 million a year baseball player. You get that care. So Therese, thanks for pointing it out, but I just want everyone to know that's what we do at Radio Surgery New York. If that's the level of care you want, give us a call at 212-CHOICES, 212-246-4237, and see what a difference it makes for you to have your care with us. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate it very much, and see how it can help you relieve anxiety, get better treatment, know more about your case. We just had a woman who came in from Maryland Friday, and they told her she had brain cancer, and it was wrapped around her brain, and she had nodules in the brain. Well, she came to us. She took the train up from Maryland. It was a 2-hour train ride. She arrived at Penn Station, which is a couple minutes away. We saw her. We got the MRI. This is a woman I've actually cared for about a decade. She moved to Maryland to be with her family. And we got the MRI, we got the radiologist on the line, and she and her husband already had the disc in their hand. And guess what? Those nodules, which she was told elsewhere that they were cancerous and most likely she would die from, here, we spoke to the radiologist, we clarified the issue. They are not cancer. There's some kind of inflammation that is going away with our treatment, without cancer treatment. And she has the answer the same day, and she's better. And they invited me even to come for dinner with them because they were so happy. So, yes, it makes a huge difference where one gets the care. Everything's not the same. There are differences, and we would urge you to consider finding out how our differences will make your life better. And speaking about radiology and studies, there was a report this week about 3D mammography. Now, normal mammography of the breast compresses the breast and takes one view of the entire breast compressed. So if you imagine there's kind of a device that squeezes the breast and takes an x-ray picture, that's what standard mammography does. There's new technology out called 3D mammography or mammotomography. And what's the difference? Well, mammotomography takes multiple images through the breast, and radiologists, some will say it's a bit like taking a picture of the cover of a book versus being able to scan through the pages of the book. So if you've got something abnormal on page 40 of that book, meaning something inside the breast, mammography can better tell you what it is. Now, there's a study that was reported this week in Wall Street Journal, and what does it say? Well, the study was funded by a company which makes the equipment, and it comes among a debate how women should be screened for breast cancer and when they should start and what technology is best. This is an article by Belinda Beck in the Wall Street Journal this week. Some radiologists hail 3D mammography as more accurate. Others talk about the extra cost. The equipment is about $500,000. The technology was approved by the FDA in 2011, along with regular mammography for women. Excuse me. What are the downsides? Well, the downside is that the amount of radiation is more, but it's still well below the limits, so it's still considered very safe. Facilities that use it will estimate that 6 million women will have a 3D mammogram this year, about 17% of all women screened. Again, the cost is about double, about $500,000. Insurers and Medicare do not cover it, so some hospitals will charge extra for it, and some facilities pick up the price. We work with facilities that use 3D mammography, so if it interests you, just give us a call. How does it work? Well, the machine takes pictures in an arc, so scanning through the breast to see separate layers of the breast separately. Again, Sarah Friedwald, the JAMA studies, and this was published in JAMA magazine, which is a medical journal, the Journal of the American Medical Association, likens 3D mammography to looking at individual pages, while 2D mammography just looks at the cover of the book. And she says if a tumor were hiding on page 40, we'd be able to see it more clearly than if all the pages were superimposed upon each other. With traditional mammography, there are false alarms and false negatives. About 10% of the 40 million American women screened annually are called back for suspicious findings. 20% have a biopsy, and 20% of the biopsies show cancer. So again, 80% of breast biopsies are negative, a point that I make to my patients regularly, that most likely a biopsy is going to be negative, which should be fairly reassuring. But normal mammography misses about 20% of early cancers, especially in dense breast. Now, 17 states require doctors to inform the woman if they have dense breasts. So you may be getting mammography and receiving a letter from the facility saying you have dense breasts. Speak to your doctor about what to do. So the JAMA study looked at 13 different facilities and compared records of 280,000 women who had regular mammograms with 180,000 women who had 2D and 3D mammography. Now, with 3D mammography, the recall rate, having to go back for more views, fell by 10%, and 3D mammography detected 41% more invasive cancers. Again, 3D mammography picked up 41% more invasive cancers. So there's data now. It's a non-invasive test. It's a safe test. And you may want to come in and talk about it with us. We can hook you up with radiologists who not only will do the tests, but we'll give you the answer just like Mr. Wright the same day. So if you have an interest, just call us at 212-CHOICES during the week, and we'll be happy to hook you up with the right facility doing the right thing for you and your possible breast disease. Again, many women will be getting these letters. There was an article in New York Times this week talking about dense breasts. Well, dense breasts means that mammography for regular evaluation, regular 2D evaluation, is less good. Now, some women have fatty breasts, and fatty breasts, when viewed with mammography, sets off any abnormalities, so abnormalities are seen more clearly. Other women, about 40% of women, have dense breasts, means the connective tissue in the breasts is denser and obscures findings on regular mammography. So there was a woman, and the article talks about her, Mrs. Capello, 61-year-old woman from Connecticut, whose breast cancer had spread to her lymph nodes by the time it was diagnosed, even though she had regular mammography every year. So she set off this legislation in states from Hawaii to California, New Jersey, New York. And again, this is an article in New York Times by Ronnie Rabin. So by the time it was finally detected, and it was detected by palpation, it was an inch in size, about 2.5 centimeters. And her doctors estimated that she lost about 2 to 5 years because of dense breasts. So state legislatures are mandating that doctors tell their patients, if you have dense breasts, that you have dense breasts, and you should go speak to your doctor about what to do. One of the solutions is this 3D mammography, better testing for women whose normal mammography won't pick up these abnormalities. So again, it's something very important. 250,000 women a year in America have breast cancer diagnosed, so it's a very important topic that can touch most every family. And I want to talk about some patients today. One patient came, a man, Spanish-speaking man from South America, came in. He was seen in a hospital in one of the boroughs of New York City when he had abdominal pain. His abdominal pain was from kidney cancer. He had his kidney removed at that other hospital. No one talked to him about non-invasive treatment like radiosurgery for kidney cancer. Then the cancer came back, and he's been at a big cancer center, and he's had 4 different kinds of clinical protocols in the last year, none with benefit. So the cancer keeps on growing despite clinical protocols. Now, some people think, well, I got in on a clinical protocol, I'm so lucky. Well, really, clinical protocols are designed generally to help the drug companies and the hospital. They can report their data and produce new products and go around the world and give lectures, but usually they're unproven treatments. So after 4 different protocols, a year of chemotherapy at this cancer place, the family came in. I met with the patient and his wife and his son last week, and after they heard about radiosurgery, they understood what a huge difference it would make. Radiosurgery for kidney cancer and for other cancers allows us to focus the treatment on the cancer and not hurt healthy tissue. Chemotherapy usually goes through a vein from head to toe, and your brain and your eyes and your ears and your fingers and your nerves get the same amount of chemotherapy that the cancer gets. Whereas with us and radiosurgery, we can focus the beam, we can stabilize the patient, everything is non-invasive, everything is outpatient, everything is non-claustrophobic, it's not enclosed. We hit the cancer, and for example, for kidney cancer, our success rate where we aim the beam is about 90%. My son, Dr. Ariel, just put together data for kidney cancer metastatic to the lung, and we're presenting that paper later in the year, with a 97% control rate. So very high control rate for a cancer that used to be called radio-resistant. So this gentleman thought about it for a week, and then he came running back. Yes, he wants to have radiosurgery. He wants that. He doesn't want any more clinical protocol. He's tired of it. It didn't help him. He had side effects. So he's all hooked up, and we are getting going with him immediately. That's what we try to do. Everyone should be treated like Mr. Right, including this gentleman. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to listen to some new voices, and then we'll be back to answer your questions, talk about cases, and talk about new